They need to start thinking right now about how eco-friendly their work is while earning money on planet Earth. My opinion is that everyone should act according to their own worldview. And if they feel comfortable saving for old age, then, in my opinion, they should save for old age. If he has an inner confidence that everything will be fine, and he is ready to bet on something that may not happen as he hoped, then he should not postpone, and he lives as he sees fit.
All right, let's take a practical piece of advice for that segment of people who, due to their employment, like most people on the planet, make monthly contributions to the pension fund. And, at least in the countries of the former Soviet Union, as we know, all pension funds are in deep deficit, money is taken from there for other purposes, and so on. And here, there is even a constructive question from this point of view that one day there will be nothing to pay out with. And
It is
in
important
fact,
to understand. It is important to understand an important thing, yes, that there is nothing to pay for one simple reason. We are currently taking energy information dependence. If a person produced something useful for planet Earth, if they were eco-friendly in their behavior and attitude toward the world, if they did not judge or blame others for their own lack of fulfillment, then, in any case, the planet, the ecosystem, society, we can say, there. The universe will create conditions for him to receive the reward when he can no longer physically earn the money that he has, specifically earned at the time of ecological and effective use of his labor for the benefit of the planet. So we need to understand that this involves a non-linear concept that all people must somehow receive a guaranteed pension. That is just stability in a graveyard. And they need to start thinking right now about how eco-friendly the work is that they use to earn money. On planet Earth, how much it benefits the planet itself and people, how much it provides health and development, how much it provides, well, the necessity of their labor.
I completely agree with you. It happens that even when a person's pension disappears for some reason, they have investments like great children, grandchildren, like country houses, trips, and so on. That is how it all works. Well, if we look from a linear perspective, here is a tiny practical piece of advice. If a person has some means, should he even consider this direction? Essentially, he is aiming for what he is talking about, but he is not perfect yet. Should he consider any alternative pension funds or investments? Or where should he allocate this surplus?
When we talk about investment funds, the financial system, and the currencies themselves, we will touch upon this topic. Because no matter how much they torture me, asking where I should sit or what pose I should take so that I would always be young and always be healthy. And I will answer, there is no place or position where we could be guaranteed to receive the pension that exists. But I can speak from the perspective of futurology. If we show a true sense of kindness, and we must understand that there is kindness born of pity, that is, of fear, and there is kindness born of love. It comes from interest, from joy. They are completely different. So, if we experience joy and kindness, the system will create conditions where we are surrounded by such people and opportunities that we will subconsciously connect to one or another tool for saving money, and it will benefit us. And even if it doesn't work, because we were kind to ourselves and kind to others, we will receive bonuses, because the foundation of planet Earth is still mercy, virtue, and the state in which we dwell, happiness and pleasure. And I can even give an example that my dad worked for a long time in some jobs, held key positions, he had high salaries. And as a result, well, the pension that we see, it is extremely low. And we can justify this in any way we want. But I have already said, even if there is high corruption in the country, every person is guilty when they paid taxes or money for utilities. But unfortunately, I am the same. I felt discomfort and a reluctance to pay, well, exactly those amounts that do not correspond to, well, the feedback we receive. That is, roughly speaking, we would like, and our energy clearly senses, right? That if we pay for a product, and it is a product, yes, a tax is a social product that we receive, including the distribution of everything we have, the services of the state for us. And if, in our view, in the view of our energy, the price is not appropriate, then our subconscious does not want to give that money. And then that amount we paid, in the view of our energy, is not appropriate. So it inevitably goes either to ineffective state projects or to corrupt officials. As I will continue, my dad had a good investment that he did not realize, which was me. And as a result, even when he wasn't really happy at his, I don't remember exactly, 20-something years old, to have another child after the first one, and it was stressful for him, and he didn't really want to do it for logical reasons. That turned out to be his biggest investment in his retirement. And because of this, he feels much better than those who, for example, well, do not have an investment like me.
Well, his approach is energetically unconscious. He simply passed on his potential, and, as a result, now has some cool bonuses for himself.
Having analyzed all of this, well, I am giving this example on purpose, that no matter what, he has an inner acceptance and perhaps I would say joy that I am succeeding at something. And the more sincere this is towards other people, or in particular towards one's own children, the more bonuses come at a subconscious level, and they form a financial safety net.
Well, I have a simple example too. I think many people have had this. My grandmother didn't know about pension funds, and I don't think there were any alternatives back then. And she would set aside all her extra money, as she saw it, for my university. She considered that the best investment. I think many people do that. But the main thing is not to have regrets or expectations, and all those qualities you mentioned.
Upbringing, the upbringing of society. Priorities and values are correctly set here. And here, again, if we are to talk about money, but we will touch on this topic later, it is important to identify male and female, because money itself works on the principle of harmony between a man and a woman.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Maybe we'll ask you again from a different perspective, whether we need to save for old age or not.
My opinion is that everyone should act according to their own worldview. And if they feel comfortable saving for old age, then, in my opinion, they should save for old age. If he has the inner confidence that everything will be fine, and he is willing to bet on what might not happen as he hoped, then he does not need to save, and he lives as he sees fit, relying on God or the state. So, everyone must have their own personal responsibility. And when people come to me, for example, about their health, and a person asks, "Do I need to have surgery?" And is it possible, let's say, to avoid surgery through some physiological means, diets, cleansing the body, physical exercise, or should I just go and have the surgery? We always make the decision based on their fear. If he is very afraid and worried, it is better to go for surgery. However, if he is confident and has potential strength, it is better to try using physical methods to balance his health without surgery. Similarly here, when a person feels that it's, difficult for them to understand what their future will be like, they need to choose financial instruments, or let's say, invest in themselves in the future, as if feeding their fear.